Now, the minority in Parliament are calling for a parliamentary probe into the relocation of the Ameri power plant by the government of Ghana. According to them, the contract to Miscellaneous to transport and operate the plant on behalf of the government smacks of corruption, and it is important every detail about the transaction is made public. This was reviewed by the ranking on Energy and Mines Committee of Parliament, John Jinapo, when he was contributing to the discussion on the AM show Wednesday.
When I was minister, would always write to us that in negotiating the contract, do not sign, at best just initial, and put a clause there which states that this contract can only become effective upon securing parliamentary approval. You've not secured parliamentary approval, and the minister was brought to parliament. You know, we raised this earlier before SF even, and let me commend SF for a very, very good job. I mean, they are doing a fantastic job. The minister came to parliament and said he hasn't signed the contract. He's still going through the process, and that he will come to parliament for approval. You've not come to parliament for approval, but you are established an irrevocable letter of credit for Miscellaneous. Irrevocable. I mean, this is illegal. And so we'll be writing to VRA, we'll be writing to the ministry, and copy the Attorney General and the President, and caution them, and raise all these issues. We intend doing that today as the minority side.
And speaking of this illegality and that irrevocable clause that has been put in there, that would be quite a concern, as ASAP has mentioned, and for the minority as well. But would that mean that you have plans of hauling Energy Minister Matthew Opoku-Prempeh before Parliament to answer questions on this?
Not just that. We might ask for a full parliamentary inquiry or parliamentary probe.
A full parliamentary inquiry or probe?
Probe into this. You can do that. Let's do the right thing.
Right.
What is so special about Miscellaneous that you have to source them? What is so special about them?
Now, some liquefied petroleum gas users in Kumasi say they will be buying food from the street, and others are reverting to using charcoal as they struggle to access the domestic fuel. Most gas outlets in the metropolis remain closed. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright quick report: many LPG users who visited gas filling stations return home with empty cylinders. We'll bring you details of that story later on in the bulletin. Now, President Akufo-Addo in February this year sent a delegation to the region led by his special advisor on gender and development, Angela Asante, after a JOYNEWS report exposed how 2 women from the Mampusi East community had been accused of witchcraft and subjected to severe torture by a Togolese priest. The delegation on the fact-finding mission also held meetings with both the Regional Security Council and the House of Chiefs to express the president's anger with the development, as well as tasked the 2 bodies to work to ensure the practice was brought under control. However, authorities at the Gambaga witch camp say nothing has changed from the visit of the presidential delegation. According to the camp's coordinator, Samson La, 10 women have since been accused and violently banished from their communities without any action from the security services. Ilyasu Tanko reports.
This is a Togolese priest abusing 2 Ghanaian women from the East Mampresi community of Sakogu in a so-called special rituals to force them to confess to the allegation of witchcraft that was leveled against them by some members of the community who had forced them to the camp at Barokosi in northern Togo. 3 months earlier, more than 20 women from the town of Nakpanduri had been held in the camp and tortured over similar allegations. The incident, which occurred in February this year and was reported by JOYNEWS, attracted the attention of President Akufo-Addo and provoked him to immediately react by dispatching a delegation under his special advisor on gender and development, Angela Asante, to meet with the regional stakeholders to convey his anger and demand a lasting solution to the heinous practice. A fact-finding delegation in the region held separate meetings with the Regional Security Council. Following that meeting, the Overlord and President of the House of Chiefs said this during a House of Chiefs meeting in March.
I wish to serve a caution to some of our so-called pastors and madams who have become recalcitrant and have made it a business by identifying witches and wizards, and also make them tin gods without recourse to the laws of the country, and that such pastors and madams should desist from such obnoxious behaviors.
In the same month, during the Independence Day celebration, the chairman of the Security Council and the regional minister also issued a warning to deal with the perpetrators of the practice. However, according to authorities of the Gambaga witch camp, the practice has shown no sign of improvement. Samson Larry is a coordinator of the camp.
Actually, there has been an increase after the visit of the Parliamentary Select Committee. We are really I don't know what to say, but we are surprised. Just of recent, we have recorded 6 women and 1 man again, just for some few days. And this is really alarming. And you know one thing, just not to record them, but this is the time there are brutalities as well. 1 woman is almost even dead. I sent her to the hospital 3 days ago. It was today that we were discharged. So it is very bad for us. 6 people coming in just within 1 month after they left. Oh, some few days. The funny thing is that we don't even have a sleeping place for them, because 4 of our rooms collapsed during the raining season. During the rains, 4 of it collapsed. So right now, as we speak, where to put all of them is a problem. Some they didn't come with any mattress. It's difficult, and we don't have new ones as we stand now. So should they lie down on the floor? It's a difficult thing.
According to the coordinator, a woman was attacked and chased out of her community in April, and in June, 2 women were attacked in the Unyo district. And only this month, 3 individuals, including a man, have been banished from Nalirgu, the regional capital town. Those who have been accused but not yet banished from their communities are living under constant threat and discrimination. The witch camp coordinator said the situation in the region is dire, as he appealed to Parliament to fast-track the passage of the proposed witchcraft bill.
But when you understand the situation on the ground very well, and you go back to do the bill, it means that it will benefit the one you are actually fighting for. That's all what I'm looking for. My old ladies are tired. They're tired. People are still beating them everywhere. And you can't also be everywhere. So if there's a bill, if there's a law that will help people not to beat these women, is it not the best?
He also called on the newly appointed Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister designate, Hajia Lariba Abudu, who comes from the region, to do more to end the practice in the event her nomination is approved by Parliament.
I think if it is actually true that Hajia Lariba is the gender minister, I think she knows these things very well, more than anybody else. She was born and bred in Walwale. And I think this is the right time for us to do the right fight. Let's come together.
From Nalirgu, Elias Sotanko, Joy News.
Very demeaning videos there. Now, MP for East Godfred Seidu Jasal and 2 other MPs have sponsored a bill to criminalize witchcraft accusations, and he joins us live on Zoom for more interactions on this. Now, first of all, your reaction to this. We have been told that women are still being accused of witchcraft, 6 of them in just 1 month. How long will it take for this law against witchcraft accusation to be passed?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I feel so appalled that this situation has recurred again. It's pathetic. I heard the story. 6 women banished in 1 month is terrible. I have to say, however, that lawmaking is a slow process. We appreciate the accusations and the challenges that these women and other accused persons are going through. But if the law has to be effective, if the law has to be what it is and stand the test of time, it unfortunately has to be slow and effective. I have to say, however, that we've gone so far in our bid to amend the criminal code. The Criminal Amendment Bill 2022 is what we are seeking to achieve by this private members bill. I can understand the sentiments and emotions that are attached to this, but I can assure you that once we go through the process and this offenses, the criminal offenses bill is in place and passed in law, we should be able to achieve a number of objectives. One of them is that there will be a total prohibition of witchcraft practices in Ghana. For me, that's the most important thing. There will also be some other arrangements like prohibition of the professional witch doctors or witch founders. So there are a number of those sections that this bill, when passed into law, will achieve. But you have to also appreciate that we are getting a lot of stakeholder involvement and stakeholder interest. And for me, that is the hope. The chiefs are okay with all the proposals and propositions we've made. We've visited the camp, we've visited some chiefs and discussed the ideas with them. They have made inputs and we are in the process of refining them. Indeed, just before the last session was over, the last meeting of Parliament was over just last week, we tried to make sure that the bill was laid. However, the business of Parliament in the last 2 weeks became so compounded that our bill didn't make space into the order paper. We are, however, going ahead to Gazette. We are using this opportunity to do a final pre-laying stakeholder meeting. So I think in a week or two, we will be convening a stakeholders meeting to let them see the bill as it is, the amendment as it is, and then make further input so that once it's laid, the gazetting will have been done, will have surpassed all the time limits that are required for these gazetting to go on. Then we can begin the clause by clause amendments on the floor of Parliament. I'm sure once we do all these rubrics and do these foundations, we should be able to have this bill passed in the shortest of time.
So as we wait for the bill to be passed, what should be done to protect these women? Because lives are involved here.
I agree with you. I think that in our last visit, we called on government, particularly the Ministry of Gender, to look into this issue. There are a lot of challenges, including livelihood challenges. People cannot even get food to eat. And this time it's reported that, in fact, their places of accommodation is so pathetic and dehumanizing. Unfortunately, the gender ministry was what it is. But now I think there's some sign of relief. We had the announcement of a new minister. We hope that she will go through the parliamentary vetting process and be successful. If she does, then we think that there should be somebody in charge to get the policy and legal linkages right. Fortunately, the newly appointed nominee has some background in the place and the area. Indeed, she's also a member of the Gender Committee of Parliament. So she's very much aware of this amendment that is being done. She's very much aware of the practice. She has her sentiments and reservations about it. I'm very confident that with her ascension to be minister, something can be done immediately. But may I also use this opportunity to call on well-meaning Ghanaians, religious organizations, etc., to go to the aid of these people at the moment. Some do not just get food to even eat. And the shelter conditions are so dehumanizing. And so let's all rally to support these people whilst we wait for the quick amendments of this bill. Once the law is passed, you know, lawmaking and law implementation takes a process. There's some gap. We cannot allow this to be going on. And I urge media, thank you for the spotlight, particularly your reporter, Jojo Kobna and his team. I think Joy FM is doing a fantastic job on this already. I hope that you continue the call for stakeholders and rally people to go and support these people. But may I add my voice to call on authorities, local government authorities, the DCs, the chiefs and people in this area, the parliament, the parliamentarian and so on, to come together and then do something about this so that this maltreatment of our mothers and so on could stop.
A delegation from the highest office of the land, the presidency, still did not bring in any dividend. What more should be done? What should happen really, such that as we wait for the bill to be passed, we can protect the lives of these women, and so that nobody will waste them to satisfy their own parochial interest?
I agree with you. I just wish that government was more proactive than this. This call has been on for the last 6-7 years or so. We haven't seen any concrete action. Indeed, that is one reason why for us as private members of parliament, we are trying to sponsor a private members bill to be able to cure this. We think that at the policy level, at the governance level, government will be more proactive to do something decisive about it. But we are not seeing anything in that respect. That is one reason why we are exploring the law, the gaps in the law, to be able to get this thing done. So that at least once there's a law backing the banning of these things, then we could bring a stop to it. But in the meantime, like I say, it's not too late. Government, local government authorities can make bylaws. People can put in arrangements that you cannot do these things and get away with it. It may be a cultural practice, but they need more education to appreciate this. We think that once this law comes in, the areas are specifically spelled out. And my view is that that should bring an end to what we've witnessed in the last few years, particularly the heightened dehumanizing treatment that has occurred of late.
Thank you so much. Dr. Godfred Seidu Jesao is the MP for Wa East and a part of a team of MPs who are sponsoring a private members bill to decriminalize this practice up there. Now, two other stories. The OT region is set to lose 4 medical doctors to further studies, raising the doctor-to-patient ratio to 1:29,000 in the region by September this year. The Regional Health Director, Dr. Osei Kufuor-Afre, describes this situation as worrying. According to Dr. Afre, over 20 doctors have been posted to the region over the last couple of years, but only 2 had reported for duty. The Regional Health Director was speaking to correspondent Peter Seno on the sidelines of half-year performance review meeting. There's more in this report.
Yeah, the OT region is vastly deprived. And that is one of the disincentives of attracting and retaining staff here. Before I came here, some doctors had been posted here, and you know, once people do some minimum number of years, they qualify to go to school. So the doctors, some of them have qualified to go to school, and we cannot hold them for not pursuing their career. But the design of the system is that new people come in as the old people also pursue further educational prospects to become more useful to the system. But having been here, I think we've gotten cumulatively about 22, 23 doctors being posted to us since 2020. But unfortunately, only one person reported, I think 2. Yeah, only 2 people reported, and it's a source of worry to us, a huge source of worry. So you can see that as the years go by, we stand the chance of losing our doctors. because they have to go for further studies and we are not getting the refill. So our doctor population ratio, we used to be about 1:21,000, increased to 1:24,000, and now we are doing around 1:29,000. And I'm very sad to inform you that this year, one school reopening somewhere September, October, we will lose about 4 of our doctors in a region to further studies. So it's going to be a problem. And you know, the doctors play the lead role in terms of the healthcare delivery, especially at the institutional or the facility level. So as the districts and the facilities do not have the adequate doctors, then I'm afraid it may worsen some of our indicators because their absence will create a big challenge for us.
Now, let me take you back to Kumasi, where some liquefied petroleum gas users in that city say they will be buying food from the street, and others are reverting to using charcoal as they struggle to access their domestic fuel. Most gas outlets in Metropolis remain closed. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku report many LPG users who visited gas filling stations return home with empty cylinders.
Stranded in a quest to refill her 6-kilogram gas container, Ya Japan has been searching all morning for a gas outlet to access LPG for domestic use. From Ashtown to Angloga, all the pump stations she has visited remain closed. With LPG being her only fuel source, she says she will resort to buying food from the streets until she gets gas to refill her container.
The gates have been closed. There's no one there. I always use gas. I don't have coal. I don't even know what to do. I will be buying food outside.
Her situation is no different from many other LPG users, including commercial drivers who trooped to various gas stations. Simon Mensah, a commercial driver, says the shortage will affect his trips, ultimately biting hard on his daily sales. I have no option. Gas is what my vehicle functions with. After this trip, I won't be going again. The gas is about finishing. I won't be working until I get gas. I have a family to cater for, so this is really affecting us. The Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union began a sit-down strike on Monday. Their reason stemming from the government's refusal to reopen some gas stations that were closed following a gas explosion in Accra in 2017. In the Ashanti region, at least 25 gas stations are under the ban. Organizing Secretary of the LPG Dealers Association of Ghana is beseeching LPG users to empathize with them.
We are even feeling more pain than because we can't. We have been seeing them going out stranded everywhere from one station to another, trying to get access to LPG. But to us, what we are doing is not today, but tomorrow. It will go into their own interest. So they should be with us and cooperate with us. But we know it is hard times for someone going from one station to another, spending a whole lot of transport fare, roaming about to get gas. But they should try and be with that.
Until the situation is resolved, the over 25% of Ghanaians who use liquefied petroleum gas will continue to resort to alternative fuel sources. For Joy News, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
You're still watching Joy News Desk. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Some schools across the country are beginning to receive copies of textbooks for the new curriculum for pre-tertiary schools 3 years since it was introduced. Printers, including Appointed Time Printing Limited, has assured Parliament's Committee on Education they will meet an August deadline to print all the textbooks and distribute them. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante was with the committee when they visited the printer to have an understanding of work done.
For more than 3 years since government introduced a new curriculum for pre-tertiary schools, textbooks are now set to be available in all these schools, with some now getting their first copies. Within this period, schools have had to improvise and teach students without textbooks. Some local printers contracted by government to print these textbooks say they are well within time to meet their schedule. Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee, Dr. Clementa Park, says although this development is coming late, they are satisfied with the work that has been done so far. He spoke to Joy News when members of the Education Committee toured Appointed Time Printing Limited, one of the printing houses working on the textbooks.
Well, there is a saying that better late than never. I would have wished that these processes would have been completed maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but be as it may, that didn't happen. But from what we've seen so far, I think that it is impressive. And I am particularly happy because we are using local printing houses. Received is that some of them have already been moved to the various destinations, and we expect that they will be in the classrooms as soon as possible. So all in all, better late than never. Well, as an academic myself, I think that the quality is good.
Chairman of the committee, Kwabena Mankwai-Siama, urged government to meet its obligations to the printers to ensure that they are able to deliver on time.
It takes some time. Government will have to find money and government will have to print. Finding money is not an easy job, especially in a period like this. We talk about the COVID intervention and what Ukraine is doing as it stands now. Economy is not in the best of shapes. So you can pardon government for that. And this is not the first time that publishing has delayed. Every year or every changeover, it delays.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of Appointed Time Printing Limited, Jacqueline Affo, has assured the committee they will finish printing the books even before the given deadline.
I expected completion time. We are looking at 21st August to complete the books and deliver as well. So that's what we are looking at. 21st August is our deadline. So that's what we are hoping to do. Yeah.
When you spoke to the committee early on, you said that some of the books had already been dispatched.
Yes. About 600,000 have gone to the schools.
For 3 years now, primary schools in particular have not had textbooks based on the new curricula that was introduced by government. These books are now getting to the schools, and the appointed time have been telling us that about 600,000 copies of science textbooks in particular have been dispatched to the schools. They are expecting to do the additional 200,000 books that they are supposed to print by the end of August and dispatch them. Now that these books are going, the minority and the majority on the committee are both expressing satisfaction with the kind of work that has been done by this particular printer, and they're expecting that these deadlines will be met and government will also meet its obligations to these printers.
This news will come as a relief for activists and parents who expressed concerns about the delay in printing these books. For Joy News, Kweku Asante, Accra.
Now, government is set to receive the $750 million it got parliamentary approval to secure from the Afri-Exim Bank nearly 2 weeks ago. Following heated argument in Parliament, the facility, which was part of a $1 billion possible disbursement said to be a key to financing critical project, received the blessing of the legislative body. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta tells the host of Hard Truth on the Joy News channel, Nana Akosua-Kunedu, that the nation expects to receive the fund within a maximum of 2 weeks.
Towards that, we need to continue to pursue other sources.
Well, you're looking to the IMF, and you talked about AFISM just now.
Yeah.
You loan to address our balance of payment issues in the short term.
Right.
But it's been argued that there's not, or in the short term, or this is going to be short-term fixes. But from your projections, what should we expect, or how do we secure these funds?
Well, I mean, the issue really is we have gone to the IMF, that's true, and therefore
but it will take a long time to get these monies.
Well, it's 6
together
months.
With Africa.
The reasons for going to the IMF, one, is that we wanted to get back access to international capital markets and also work with friendly sovereign countries who would be interested in supporting various papers that we will be able to issue. So given that we've gone to the fund, that opens the way for that type of negotiation and a sense of calmness to investors that we may be able to return
so you
to
said
the
it's going to take 6 months. Afrexim, I'm not sure you even started the conversation. You started the conversation right now on 10 papers, so it's going to take some months to actually, get that money. So in the short term, in the interim,
for that, and we expect within the next week or two to have that resource, and then continuing now of a lot more vim and vigor, given the relationship that we have with IMF, to be able to now convince other sources of financing for that.
Mr. Ofrata, who has come under intense criticism for his management of the economy, insists the current crisis, which necessitated seeking assistance from the IMF, will be resolved.
Really, there's reason for disappointment, but I think it should really be put on the backdrop of where we are in the global economy. The question then is, would Akufo-Addo's government be able to lead us through this? And I'm confident that we will, because we did meet an IMF program in which we exited correctly. And this one too, we are going to confront it head on and be able to do that. So let's have faith, let's dig into our resilience as a people, and we would also guide the way forward.
Now, from choosing outside wall light for the bedroom to fixing very dim light for the kitchen, there are very common mistakes people make when selecting light for their homes. Sales and marketing executive of Ghana's premier lighting company, Global Light, Nicholas Sowate, says like household appliances, there are specific types of light designed for every part of the home. He spoke to us ahead of the second mini clinic of the ECOBANK JOYNEWS HABITAT FAIR happening from this Friday to Sunday at the West Hills Mall.
We don't just sell lights. We also advise on the type of light to use for your buildings or for your projects.
Okay.
Now with Global Lighting Center, when you invite us, aside when we sell the light to you, come to your place, we look at the structure and we talk to the house owner, the type of light he wants before we make a suggestion. So for instance, if you have a nice building, probably this structure is kind of a building. We look at the ceiling, type of ceiling that you have, then we know whether to give you a recessed type of light or a surface mounted type of light. The way the ceiling is designed can tell whether you should go for the strip lights or you should go for the spotlights.
Okay.
Because light, trust you me, has a way of beautifying the house. It's not just the building. It is the light that makes the building looks unique. And that is what Global Lighting will offer.
Okay.
And our lights are also on quality. We can give you warranty on it. So when you buy from us, you know you are giving you value for your money.
Wow. So it depends on the house.
It depends on the house. And we look at what the customer wants, then we can suggest the best solution or the best lighting for the house. So that when you look at the house, when you invite anybody to the house, at the lights, they are like, wow, that can be a recommendation to Global Lighting.
Interesting. And can you show us some of the lights?
Okay, so now, let's start from here. Here we have an outside light.
Okay, so these are all outside
You
lights.
don't just put any lights outside your building.
Okay.
There are some lights when you are buying, you look at the IP level. The IP on the lights tells you the quality or the strength of the lights, whether they can stand the outside weather. And it's not every light you can put outside.
Okay.
So when you come to Global Lighting and you want lights for outside, or you see a particular light and you want, you look at the IP, then we tell you that these particular ones here are good for outside. Then from this side going, they are not good for the outside weather. So when you are choosing the light for inside the house, then we bring you to this side of the house.
Okay.
When the such lights means you can't cut the ceiling. If you want it to be mounted on your ceiling, then we give you this type of lights. Then with the color index, we have the white and the warm.
Okay.
The white is good for reading. The white is good for, it's more like a broad daylight. So when you are doing activities in the house, you need the white light. But for the bedroom, for the sitting room, if you don't want too much light in the room, then you go for
something
the
dim like
something
this.
Dim. And it makes the room very cozy. And it doesn't produce so much heat.
Okay.
LED is always the best option as compared to the fluorescent bulb, the CFL bulbs.
Okay. So this one more for studies.
Come again.
This one more for studies in the room.
Yeah, this is good for studies.
This one more for
this one. This one is good for.
This one is bright, so more for reading,
for the kitchen, for the study room.
Okay.
Yeah,
and this one more for the bedroom.
Because when you are going to sleep, you need your body to relax.
Yeah.
And that is where the warm light comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. If you use the white light in your bedroom, you wake up very tired because your body will read the room as the normal daytime, and the body will not get enough rest you want. So it's better to use the warm for your bedroom. With the color index, you have from the 1000K to the 10,000K. It goes, that is get blue kind of light, the green kind of light, the yellow kind of light. That is the Kelvin goes higher. Okay. But from 1,000 to 4,000, you get a warm color like I showed you. This one gives you 4,000. So this one range between the 3. Then when you go from the 5,000 upward, you are going into the whites. Okay. That is where the white comes in. So the white ends at 6,500. Okay. Then from 7,000 going up, you are getting into the blue bulb, the white bulb. So like the romantic, it depends on the room. The room. Some people prefer to use the strip lights, the hidden lights, the blue color for the room. They put all lights off. Then you only see the rope light in the room. You will not see the lights, but you will see the effects in the room. And that alone makes the room very cozy.
So come by the West Hills Mall this weekend, beginning Friday, to learn some of these knowledge you need to put up your dream home. It will be an exciting time for you to have access to these items and to know more about them. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll bring you latest from the world of business. Stay with us here on the Joy News channel.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Tranz Global Service, an international courier service, has assured Ghanaians of safe, affordable charter flights from Accra to London with the new service. Speaking at the launch of its airline, Voyager International Airlines, its chief executive, Thomas Coleman, promised despite the increasing challenges facing British Airways, his outfit would ensure a good traveling experience at competitive prices. The airline industry was among the worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Airlines had to cut down on staff due to the limited movements of people as most countries were locked down. Although the pandemic has subsided, airlines are still struggling to recover. But Voyager International Airlines promises stellar experiences. Here's its chief executive, Thomas Coleman.
First is going to be competitive pricing. Okay, there's not a lot of direct flights. There's only one between London and Accra. That's on British Airways. That price point right now is about $4,000. So I know that we're right around $2,500 or less for that particular route. So that's a big saver. It's a saver on time, and it's a saver on money. We're a capitalistic company, so we're doing this for a profit, but we're not like a giant international carrier where we're trying to have massive profit. So we can cut down our profit to increase the number of baggage handlers that we have. We're okay with paying baggage handlers more and reducing our profit. So, I mean, because if we give you great service, you're going to come back to us.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Development Company, Kojo Entry, referred to the launch as timely due to the programs lined up ahead of December.
We're excited to be part of this event and to witness an occasion such as this as a government, and I'm sure we've heard the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Honorable Dr. Awal, mention the fact that we're looking to get tourism receipts to grow up to $4 billion US dollars in terms of contribution to GDP. We're also looking to attract about 2 million visitors to the country coming through all our international airports. So the witness of a chartered flight system, which is something we have been advocating as a government and pushing for, is necessary. Again, look at the things that we have planned for end of year. So we have major events coming up like Afrochella, like Afro Nation, like December in GH, that has a lineup of many, many events. For all these people coming in, they need avenues to bring them in here.
Tranz Global Service is partnering Numero 1, a travel consultant, on this project. The West Africa Regional Director for CATS International, ACCUSATIONS, is urging small and medium-scale enterprises to merge to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area to be competitive. According to him, this will aid in accessing a wider customer base and increasing market share whilst ensuring diversification of products, services, and long-term prospects. He spoke to Joy Business at a sensitization workshop for SMEs.
Small and medium-sized enterprises play an important role in Ghana's economy, accounting for around 90% of all businesses. The bulk of Ghana's SMEs operate in trade and services, and to a lesser extent industry. meaning they are also a key source of job creation. SMEs are responsible for roughly 85% of employment in the manufacturing sector. Mr. Kusi Adumaku underscored the important role of merging in the market, stressing that this will support SMEs compete under the AFCFTA.
One of the problems we have in Ghana and most African countries is that people want to do things by solo. They want to be 100% owner of their company. But the world is changing, and the world has changed. And my dad used to say that it is better to be a 1% shareholder in a $1 trillion company than to be 100% owner in $100 company. So if you're an SME, you can decide to merge with somebody who has resources. Sometimes you may have the skills, somebody may have the money, so you should be able to convince people to invest in your establishment. That is one. And the banks have got a lot of money to give. Banks are knocking down on businesses, but to be able to qualify for financial loan from the bank, you should be able to put your business in a good shape. So
some SMEs called for more of such workshop. They admitted the challenges merging may come with, but welcome the idea.
See, now it's difficult because human behavior now is something you need to look at. But if you have like-minded people who understand themselves, we should be able to merge so that we can maximize profit.
As an SME, it brings about a lot of exposure. You get a lot of information, and then you get to know what the outside world is expecting of you, such as standards and all of that. It makes you get to know you need to be ready for a certain market.
Very perfectly. I started long ago. I used to tell my colleagues that when you are united, we'll be very strong. And then you learn, you take ideas from your colleague.
The SME sector has been key in the production of goods and services and employment creation in the country.
And that's business. There's more coming up after this break. Do stay tuned.